Welcome to the Hustle HQ podcast, where life, fitness, and business come together. We're here to bring you stories and strategies to help you break your barriers and unlock your full potential. I'm Connor Wigren. Let's get into it. Ryan, welcome to the show. Most of you guys will know him as Ifwithryan on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, but he is here in the flesh today with us. Ryan, welcome. And how did you get your start here?
Man, thanks for having me. Looking forward to talking with you today. And I think I got my start, like a lot of people did, on Instagram.
Yeah.
I got out of the Army, spent about 3-4 years out of the Army, put on a lot of weight, got up to around 270 pounds, needed to do something with my life. As far as weight goes, decided to do intermittent fasting, started posting on Instagram. A friend of mine told me, hey, you may want to look at YouTube. I started posting at YouTube. And
so you started by posting your own journey, like the true,
exactly
authentic weight loss journey there.
So I'm just here because I shared my story.
Thank you for your service, by the way. How many years did you serve?
I served 7. It was an absolute honor to serve. Served alongside of served alongside of heroes. So it was an honor to serve.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So you get out of the military. Did you start your family already?
So yes, so my wife and I we're in Melbourne. You said we've been here for a year.
Yeah.
So we have been back here for a year because we grew up in Melbourne.
Oh,
now,
awesome.
My dad was in the Army, so I was born in Germany, but from 3rd grade on, I grew up here in Melbourne, Florida, went to University Park, went to Stone Junior High. My wife and I graduated Palm Bay High in 2005, prom king and queen.
Really?
Yeah. So we dated since we were 15. We've been married now for 15 years, so been together for, I can't even do the math on it. I need to pull my calculator out.
Yeah.
We've been together forever.
So you are from Melbourne. I mean, that's awesome. So I got to plug my buddy, Matt Forrest. He actually sent me your profile and said, hey, this guy is moving to Melbourne. I watch his stuff all the time. You need to reach out to him. And that's what connected us. We FaceTimed him that one time to say hi to him. And he was all excited about it.
No, for sure. And that's why, so that is the other reason why I'm here now, is because you and I started talking, and I think I love Melbourne. I love storytelling. I love fitness is also something that I have always had an affinity to. So to marry those together and then to get to meet you, like, man, I've got that entrepreneur spirit. So to meet somebody that was starting their own thing in the fitness community, I was excited to connect.
Very, very early on in both of our ventures, I feel like. I mean, you had a pretty established social media, obviously. So what rolled you in? Like, so you did your start with the weight loss of yourself, and what made you start posting your journey? So
the reason that I started posting initially is, so I'm no stranger to weight loss.
Okay.
I'm a chronic yo-yo dieter.
Okay.
I like to say I've gained and lost the same 40 to 50 pounds more times than I can count.
Okay.
I grew up, I remember I was in the 5th grade and I couldn't fit into my dad's pants. Like, I popped the button on his Army pants because I, playing soldier. I couldn't fit into his.
You were a big guy.
Yeah, always. So I've always kind of done that diet struggle. And I've done a lot of different things. I've done low carb. I did Weight Watchers. I did If It Fits Your Macros, 6 meals a day, like alarm set on my watch every 2.5 hours. I've done it all, and they all worked, but most of them didn't stick. And that's when I started intermittent fasting. And to why I started posting on Instagram is because through all of my experiences, I learned some things along the way, right?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't all trash. And one of the things that I knew was accountability and, like, stating your goals. At least for me, that's important. I like to, post my flag.
So your social media venture started as like an accountability thing to yourself. You're like, there was no thought of, I'm going to get very popular off this. I'm going to get famous off this.
No, 100%. Like, having that accountability, and in the digital age, that's kind of where you can, see your community. So originally on Instagram, it was people that I knew, but I was saying that I was on a weight loss journey because I know that helps, right?
Yeah.
To go and to say and proclaim it helps. So that's
Absolutely.
where it originally started.
So the intermittent fasting works for you. How do you structure it? Like, how is your structure on that?
Yeah, so intermittent fasting was actually the reason I got started with it is, of all the diets that I had tried in the past, intermittent fasting was one of them. And it was one of the ones that had worked for me. I lost 30 pounds doing it, stopped doing it, put the weight back on like always. But when it came time to pick which diet I was going to follow, I started with intermittent fasting because of all the ones that I had had. When looking back on it, I was like, you know what? That was the one that was probably most enjoyable while I was doing it.
Yeah.
And so because I wanted it to be sustainable, that's why I went to intermittent fasting and started with just a standard 16-8. Stop eating at 8, start eating at noon is kind of where I started.
Yeah, I've never really stuck to intermittent fasting, but I like the idea of it not only for like a gut health thing and giving your gut a break to kind of, take a chill pill from eating all the time like Americans do. We're always scarfing food down our face. But also like a time thing, like cooking and cleaning and everything. I feel like when I don't eat breakfast or lunch, I'm like, bam, bam, bam. Like I got my reading done, I got my meditation done, I got to the gym. And I think like eating for me, and I'm a very slow eater. I actually have something called EOE, eosinophil esophagitis, which actually will make me choke on my food. So eating for me is a very slow process. Like I have to sit down and I actually have to focus on eating. Like, I can't be, like, playing on my phone, talking to Sid. I will choke on my food. So eating for me is, like, a very, like, gotta stop everything and, like, slow down. So fasting sometimes is, like, that's a quicker, easier way. Not necessarily just for a health point, but, like, even before I came here to eat breakfast, I sat down and, like, cooked, ate, cleaned. That's a good chunk of your day,
No, 100%. So I tell people all the time, there are a lot of benefits to intermittent fasting. A lot of people come to it for weight loss, myself included.
Yeah.
But there are other benefits. There's the cognitive benefits. There is the benefit of time. And I specifically point that one out as like, hey, if it only takes you 15 minutes in the morning to eat breakfast, like 5 minutes to cook it, 5 minutes to eat it, 5 minutes to clean up, but let's be honest, it's usually more than that. If you cut that out, imagine how much time you're getting back.
Yeah.
That's like one of the hidden benefits to intermittent fasting for sure.
Have you ever gotten into any like long-term fasting, like the 24, the 48?
So I like that question as well. And I think so I've been intermittent fasting now for 4.5 years, coming up on 5. Crazy how time flies. And in that time, I have done a 36-hour fast maybe 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
And there's a reason for it. Now, I'm very interested in some of the cognitive benefits, health benefits that come with like the 48, 72-hour fast. But I'm the father to 2 little girls, 7 and 10-year-old, and they know what I do.
Yeah.
I help people manage their weight, and I share my own story. But because they're also younger, I don't want them... I'm never away from my family for more than a day.
Yeah.
So if I were to go 3 days without eating, I wouldn't want them subconsciously to pick up on that and associate not eating with weight loss.
And because dad's doing it,
Exactly. So to say, I'm doing this because I want the health benefits, maybe when they're a little older, I'll be able to do that because I definitely want to experiment with them.
You can explain the hormones and all the...
Exactly. But I don't want that early connection of...
Yeah.
Bad. You don't going a long period of time. Whereas, 16 to 18 hours, you're missing breakfast.
Yeah.
You're missing breakfast and you stop eating snacks. That's not unreasonable either.
No, not at all.
Which is I think that's a good trait to show the girls is like, daddy eats when he's hungry, which is when we should eat.
Yeah, not just all the time.
Not because
So I did a long-term fast. I think it was after our bachelor party in Key West. So I was feeling pretty gross from the weekend. And I was like, I was seeing it online. My buddy Ron does it. He does like long ones, like water fasts. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'm going to do this and just see how long I can go. I think I made it like just over 40 hours. And I was in store working. And I was literally trying to I'd like grab a product and like go to explain to a customer. And I was like literally struggling to explain stuff. Like I was just getting to that point where I was like drained. And I was like, I need to eat a meal. So I went and ate a meal. It was a chicken parmesan meal from Precision. But, not knowing anything about fasting or anything, too many carbs to jump right back into. And my system, it felt like down-regulate even more. I was like, oh, man, that did not feel good. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. It really is. And
so how did it feel around the 30-hour mark? So towards the end, you were feeling it. At what point were you like, oh, I see? Were you ever like, man, I see why people do this?
Yeah. So got home. I can't think of exactly how we did it, but day 2, when I thought I was going to be like in pain, I was like actually feeling really good. I wasn't even hungry. It was interesting. But after day 2, like into day 3-ish, 4, that's when I was like, I got a break. Maybe next time. Yeah. So you're posting on social media. This is something I see a lot happen. I see these TikTokers and these young kids start popping off on social media, and they're posting their gains or their shirtless pics or whatever. And I'm like, wow, that's really cool and everything, but you have this huge following and all you're doing is posting your shirtless pics. You're not connecting a business into it. So when did you go, oh, wait, I'm getting a following. These people are asking my advice. I can help them, and this can be a revenue stream. This can be a business.
Yeah, so that actually started when I started on YouTube. And the reason for it is I said I had a friend recommend YouTube for me. His name is Jude Coe. He runs Jump Rope Veteran is his YouTube channel. So he had a YouTube channel before. He saw what I was doing on Instagram, recommended YouTube. Then when I looked into YouTube, how to start a YouTube channel and grow a channel, if you YouTube search that, one of the things that's going to come up is how YouTube is such a great business opportunity.
Okay.
So before I started on YouTube, before I made the decision, I was like, okay, I'm going to at least craft this in such a way that it could turn into something. And I did that by niching down, by covering my weight loss journey, right?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't everything in my life. It was weight loss so that if something happens down the road, it's at least poised to do so. And signed up for a YouTube course.
Really?
Took a YouTube course. And one of the things that they talked about that I really took to heart was influence before income. So as I was growing my following, and still even now to this day, I have the opportunity to make money, but that's not where my head's at. I'm still trying to grow my influence. I'm trying to help as many people as possible to watch the videos.
Along with that, I just got back from St. Louis, the First Form headquarters, and I'm meeting all these higher ups in First Form and S2. These guys that have 30 plus supplement stores, one of the biggest supplement brands ever. And one of my big questions for every single person I met was like, what would you say your number one thing of growth is? Like, how'd you get here? And I'm not kidding. Every single person, which I did, I knew this, we do this at Fitness Society, but every single one was like, care. One word, care. Just care about your customer, give back to the customer, and your span of influence will grow. The money will come. Like, the money should never be if you're thinking money first, you're going to fail. Like, the money should be on the back burner.
100%. One of the things, man, so you say that, and that makes me think that's what I love about a weight loss journey is whether you are going through growing a business or you're going through a weight loss journey. I know a lot of people are trying to go through a weight loss journey, is if you do it right, and do it right meaning you lose the weight and you learn why what you're doing is working. Like through that process, you learn so many lessons that you can apply to different areas. If you are going into a weight loss journey and the only thing that you are concerned about is the number on the scale, and you're not thinking about why you're doing it, and I'm trying to take care of this body that I have. If you don't have a good why, and you don't care, like
you gotta have
it's
a
not
why.
going to last. 100%.
You have to know why you're doing something. Otherwise, you're just doing it, and
the longevity of that, right? You can do things you don't care about for a short period of time.
You can get motivated
just like a diet, right? Like you can do something. I did P90X.
Yeah.
They have changed the website now, but for 5 years I was on the homepage of P90X as one of their success stories. I'll show you here in a little bit. I'll show you the photos. Like
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
I lost 34 pounds, got absolutely shredded. I followed the system to a T.
Okay.
I was completely committed. And 2 months later, I'd gained it all back plus some, right? Like, because
now
I was only focused on, like, how do I lose weight, not how do I build something sustainable.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you kind of got you actually started opposite for most people. Most people start making content and then figure, oh, I can grow from this. You looked at it as a business from day one.
Correct.
That's really cool. I mean, that's actually super unusual, I think. I mean, I don't think many people start a channel as like this is going to be a business.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I didn't know was I didn't know what that business would look like, and I'm still not, it's still continuing to evolve. But one of the things that I knew from the beginning, like with my weight loss, is I had to find something sustainable. If I was going to build a business, I would want it to be something that I care about, and overcoming the yo-yo dieting and all of the things that I've struggled with, helping people overcome that. And that's something that I'm passionate about, that I can sustain. So that's why I chose kind of the niche or the area that I did, which is sharing my story in the hopes to help other people.
And I think what gravitates a lot of people to you is it's not like chicken and rice. You're showing up front. And what I like what you do too is you show the process. You put it on your Instagram. You show it on YouTube. Hey, this is exactly what I do. And you don't have to eat anything crazy or weird. You break your fast with coffee or protein. I mean, I watch your videos all the time. You break your fast going out to eat with your family. And you're showing that this doesn't have to be a head down, like, the grungy, like, videos that are like, you need to put your hood up and your head down and get in the gym and grind. Like, you're saying this can be a normal thing. It doesn't have to be this, like, hardcore weight loss.
No, for sure. And listen, there are different seasons of life for different people. Man, on deployment, I love Rob Bailey and the Hustle Standard. Like, come on. Like, I love that grind mentality. But I think where I struggled in my early 30s was I wanted to get back to the grind, but life is more important.
Absolutely.
So for
I
me,
always
it
look
was
up
like,
to you guys that have a business and a family. Like, I have a wife, but I don't have kids. I have a dog, I don't have that extra level of like, hey, I need to do this for my family. Yeah, and I'm excited for that. I'm excited for that day to come where I have a baby and now it's like, I feel like I'll go into super overdrive where I'm like, I'm locked in now. I have a child I have to provide. Kudos to you guys that do it with a family. I can't imagine growing a business with a baby. Like,
and that's part of the reason why I show as much as I do, is because coming from and knowing what it used to be like to be in grind season, and coming from somebody who, do what I say, not what I do. How many times do we hear, you're running your own race, don't compare yourself to other people?
Yeah.
Like, it's easy to say, but it's hard to do. So I compare myself all the time. So whenever I used to see, what I eat in a day videos, or if you look at the guys that are shredded, one of the things that as I matured, I realized is they are showing the highlight reel. Mm-hmm. Now, some guys do eat that way all the time, every day. Yeah. I'm not saying that's not the case. But what I'm saying is if I can show over a long period of time, my dream is to be in killer shape when I'm in my mid-40s.
Okay.
Like, I want to be in better shape in my 40s than I was in my 20s. And people are going to say, how did you do that?
How old are you now?
You do that? So I'm 38 now, just turned 38. Okay. I'm super young. Like, I consider myself very young.
Yeah.
And when I'm in great shape in my mid-40s and people say, how did you do it? I envision having 10 years of videos to say, you can go back and see, I never did anything crazy. The real secret is time and consistency. And if all you ever watch is a single video and I tell you to lose weight, you need to eat an egg white omelet with veggies, and then you need to have a protein shake mid-morning, and then you need to have a turkey sandwich on wheat bread for lunch, and then another protein shake, and then for dinner, salmon, asparagus, and fruit.
And another protein shake.
Now, that is part of it. 100% that's part of it. But if you think that's all of it, and then you have a day where it's your kid's birthday and you have cake and ice cream, you tell yourself, I didn't do the thing that I was supposed to do every day, therefore I can't keep on. Mm-hmm. Like, I want to show people over a long period of time, like, what moderation and consistency really looks like. That's kind of my vision for the channel.
When I'm working in store and doing scans with people, I always tell them, I'm like, we're not trying to be a bodybuilder here. Like, somehow the bodybuilding thing is so small and niche, but somehow it's like seeped out into fitness and weight loss in general. Like, people, when they think of weight loss, for some reason, they think of these rules that these bodybuilders have created. And bodybuilding is great if you want to be a bodybuilder. But these people that like start weight loss journeys, I hear it all the time. Well, I don't want to be drinking 3 protein shakes a day or eating 5 times a day. I'm like, no, you're not. Like, we're not. You're trying. Susie's trying to be healthy. We're just trying to be healthy. Let's get, the macros in line or whatever. Let's get the calories in check. Get you a good multivitamin, good hydration, and that's what we're trying to be. Like, they have the stigma of like, oh, I'm gonna have to eat all this food or all this protein, and I don't really want to do that. So I think what you're doing is super powerful, and I think people are really starting to look at that as like, wow, this works. This is a viable option.
No, for sure. And I think one of the things also, and again, we're talking to different populations. I'm talking to people that have struggled with the yo-yo diet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not an expert in all things. I tell people all the time, and I still got an easy 20 pounds I could lose, probably another 10 to 15 before I see my abs. Mm-hmm. And if I wanted to do that, I would hire a coach that specializes in that and knows what to do. But I am now at a place where I'm comfortable, and if I want to continue what I'm doing, one of the things is everybody is so different. You got to find what works for you, and you got to, give yourself a little bit of grace. Not saying don't try things, but if things don't work, you're not a failure. It's just like, okay, that thing didn't work for me. Meal prepping doesn't work for me because I don't like to eat reheated leftover meals unless they taste as good when they were cooked as they do reheated. I don't like to eat it, so meal prepping is not for me. That's not
really
my
hard
avenue.
to do. It's really hard to meal prep where it tastes good every time, 4 or 5 days and after cooking.
Right, but taste for other people is not a big a thing. So for them, it may work. It all works. It just may not all work for you.
Yeah, I can't eat dry chicken and rice. I'll literally die. I will be choking on it. When I was a kid, my dad was a big chicken and rice guy because my dad is bodybuilding mentality. Like, he's 60. He read all the old pumping iron, muscle and fitness books, and he is bodybuilding. Like, he is like, you need to eat more chicken and rice. And it's like, I can't do chicken and rice. So what would be some tips like to growing? I mean, you've obviously, how far along are you on YouTube? 200,000?
So I'm at 298. So just about to hit 300K.
That's awesome. So what are some tips you'd have for like growing on social media? Like, is it the thumbnails? Is it the length of the video? Is it the quality of the video? Like, what's your secret key that's making these videos go?
Yeah. So I think a little bit of it was experimentation, right?
Okay.
So I tried different things in the beginning, all within the weight loss niche, obviously.
Yeah.
But I tried, here's 3 tips to lose weight, all the kind of standard stuff. So feel free to try different things, and then when you find something that's working, something that resonates with you, double down on that. So we talked a little bit earlier. I'm starting to work on my long form content now because long form and short form are 2 different beasts. But I really found my voice, and I could see through the analytics that the audience really resonated with the what I eat in a day shorts. So when I found kind of that, zone of something that I was good in, I doubled down on it. Just like, again, bringing it back to the weight loss journey, there's a lot of different ways to do things. Mm-hmm. You only got to find what works for you. So, kind of do that. You can try to excel in 1 or 2 areas versus try to be moderate in all of them.
So we always talk about doing like a couples page where like Kaylee and I are like day in the life of business owners, but we just can't get the filming rhythm down. Like, I don't know if we need to just say, hey, we're making 1 video a week and we'll post that, but we just haven't committed to it. And I feel like I want, like Sam Stulik, for example, the kid posts about lifting weights, eating his food, and going to class. Like, his content is pretty dry. I mean, but it's just his personality. People love it. Like, I literally watched his videos because I had so many customers bringing him up to me. And after watching that, I'm like, wow, I have a little bit more to talk about than this kid. Like, I feel like I could make a little bit more of an exciting channel. But it's funny what some people, it just works for them, It's really cool. But yeah, we haven't made that commitment. We filmed a few times and filmed a few things, but we need to like plan it out and just do it.
No, and some of the things that I'll say to people too is, don't reinvent the wheel, right? Like don't put this pressure on yourself to come up with your own voice in a vacuum. Imagine if you knew nothing. I'm going to keep bringing it back to the weight loss because I feel like there's so many parallels.
Yeah.
Imagine if you knew nothing about fitness and nutrition and just that information didn't exist. Okay. Imagine how hard it would be to figure that out all on your own, right?
Yeah.
Same goes with content. Like if there is a style that you like and it resonates with you, feel free to start there. The way I do intermittent fasting is not the same way Jen Stevens, who wrote the book Fast, Feast, Repeat. It was the first book I read on intermittent fasting. Mm-hmm. I now do intermittent fasting different than the book I read, but I started with her model, and you can do that same thing in content, right? Like your form of if it fits your macros may be a little different. The way how you prioritize dessert or not is going to be different than somebody else, but content the same way. Don't feel like you've got to reinvent the wheel. Take a format that is working and then add your own voice to it over time and through practice.
Make it your own little twist.
Because even Sam Sulek, I haven't watched a lot of his stuff, but venture to guess there are other people that have done that before. He's not the first person to do it. It is a format. So I'd say that with content. Like there are a lot of formats. Find one that kind of resonates with you.
Yeah, definitely. Like there's a lot of that, like transitioning, like a lot of the fitness influencers, it's the same stuff. They work out, they eat, and they kind of live their life. They don't really, there isn't much. It's just kind of like picking that name. And I noticed that with a lot about supplements too, is like you see people coming in asking for a certain brand because a person they resonate with represents it. And it doesn't matter if we have the identical product with a different label. It is, no, Sam Sulek said take this one.
Right. There's a reason things resonate with people, and there's sometimes you should absolutely lean into that.
And that's kind of why we want to start that couples channel, because if they can get to know us as people and grow to like us as people more than like just knowing the brand Fitness Society, I think it'll increase the connection of the customer to Fitness Society because, we know Kaylee and Connor. It's almost like a loop around, or
No, for sure. And so like with weight loss, the thing I'd ask you is somebody comes in for an evaluation, and you showed me your sheet earlier, which I love, by the way. The top of it was the goal and why.
Yes.
You need to know that before you can advise people.
Absolutely.
So I would ask you, what is the goal for your social channels that you want to start?
Yeah.
And then from that, then you can devise a plan. So what's your goal?
So the goal with the channel would be to kind of bring a like backstage view to Kaylee and I's life and how we run the business and how we manage like business and relationship. Now, I'm not one of those people that want to get like super like personal like relationship. Like that should be you and your wife, should be like you and your wife. But I would like to kind of show that bridge at like, face value of like, how do you run a business with your wife? How do you own a business with your wife, And what's the balancing look like? Now, I don't want to be like taking our camera to like date night and stuff necessarily, but I think it would just be really cool to kind of tell our story through that and like give little bits of advice each episode. And then how I've thought about it was like what we're doing that day, some kind of stint of advice, and then maybe like a voiceover of like a workout or what we're doing that day.
No, I love it. Which platform are you looking at?
YouTube would be
YouTube.
We'd probably do long form. Realistically, we should probably start doing like a reel or a short. But I don't know. I just feel like I heard a thing on a podcast once. The guy said he was at a social media conference and there's a TikTok speaker up there. The guy had like 20 million TikTok followers. Literally a couple people were there watching him speak. He said a YouTuber went up with like 100K. The stage was full. The whole stadium was full listening to this guy. Well, stadium, but area. And that tells me that Short form content is swipeable. You're swiping, you're swiping, you're swiping. You're not connecting as much.
I'm going to push back.
Yeah, that's true.
Man, I love short form. I love short form, and I love building a community. Now, there are different ways to do it, and there are different metrics, right?
Yeah.
You got to look at your why.
Yeah.
If your why is to gain as many followers as possible, you're going to do things. You're going to create viral videos. You're going to do things that maybe are surface level.
Yeah.
The reason is to reach a wide audience. You can't go as deep because people don't know you.
Yeah.
So they're not going to go deep with you.
Yeah.
Fair?
Absolutely.
So if that is the goal, and as a result of that being your goal, that's the approach you take, meaning you make surface level content,
yeah,
then you're not going to have people follow. But my approach to content has been, man, I want to help people break through the weight loss, the yo-yo dieting, and realize that like there is power in progress over perfection, right? Like it doesn't have to be great all the time. But that my approach to the storytelling is each video is a story into and of itself.
Okay. I like
right?
that.
And the story of what I eat today.
Yeah.
That is the story. There's a beginning, a middle, and end. So if somebody doesn't know me from Adam, they can at least watch that video and it's been completed.
Yeah.
But if they liked it a little bit, and the next time they see it, there's a little pickup. There's a story going through when you watch all of them.
Well, the what I ate in a day.
That's where I feel like I've built community. Is the other day we filmed so I'm getting back into Longform. I said we filmed a diners, drive-ins, and dives style video at Shaquan's favorite place. But we filmed that video, and on 2 days' notice, I was like, "Hey, we're going to be filming a YouTube video, and I'm going to be there hanging out if you want to come hang out." And a few people stopped by, and like I'm in Melbourne, with less than 48 hours notice, and I do mostly short form content. So the way you build community in short form content is you go deep over time. Okay. If that makes sense.
I like that. No, that's
so you could absolutely we can make this in the podcast. Feel free. We can keep talking, or we can talk afterwards. You could absolutely draw people in short form, because that's also where the audience, it helps with discoverability.
Okay.
The likelihood that new people will find you is better in short form. That's just because that's where eyes are. More people are watching.
Would be better for us. It was just I assumed that it was a lot. Like that's what you did though, right? You went from long form to short.
But when I was doing long form, so I'm also somebody that likes to follow a plan. Like I said, don't reinvent the wheel. Yeah. So the course I took on YouTube was geared towards long form content, and that was very much, they are proponents of answering specific questions and getting targeted in YouTube search. That's where I still have video to this day. Can you have diet soda while intermittent fasting?
Can you?
You absolutely can.
Okay.
My take on it, 100%.
Is it anything under 5 calories?
So I say 30 and I'm good with.
Okay.
I say that specifically for people that say they can't do black coffee.
Okay.
Have some sugar-free creamer that's going to be 30, 35 calories, and don't sweat it.
Yeah.
Now, here's the reason, is because I'm looking at intermittent fasting from this point of view of weight loss. And at the end of the day, it works because it helps restrict calories like every other diet. It's just a more enjoyable way to restrict calories.
Okay.
So 30 calories in the morning is not going to affect that equation.
Affect your fast.
It will break your mindset if you tell yourself, I have broken my fast, so I may as well start eating.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as you, and that's just more of a mindset thing, but that's where a lot of weight loss is.
Well, let's wrap this up and come back for an episode 2. I think we'll definitely need an episode 2 for sure. We can dive deeper into intermittent fasting, deeper into business, or deeper into social media. I think people would be interested to hear that. But we're going to tag all your socials below and your website below. Guys, if you could subscribe, share the video, we'd really appreciate it. We're just getting Hustle HQ off the ground. And stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you guys for watching.